See, I like to bring myself up on the second measure. So we establish with the music, and then maybe right about here I show my name. Right? It all goes with the music. It's orchestrated. That's what makes this a production, like a show, and not just some random, Facebook Live thing. Welcome to all of you. I am Bob Doyle. The Bob Doyle mentioned in this, what we call in the biz a lower third, which is weird because this would really be more like the lower sixth, right? The lower third would take up half. It would be ridiculous. I'd be like, hey, it's me, Bob, right? That would be pointless. I guess it wouldn't be pointless, it would just be obnoxious. Okay, so this is the part of the show where I also join the show by clicking some links on my iPad. And there you are. And there I am. And Natty, first one to say hello. Sometimes I say that, like somebody will come in and they're the first ones to say hello, and I say, hey, it's the first one to say hello. And then when I go back and watch the broadcast, somebody else shows up first in the list, and it shows up as being commented when live. I don't get it. Facebook, you're such a mystery to me. But here I am, once again. I'm doing good. Natty, how are you? And Annette, nice to have you here. So I'm just kind of waiting for a minute or two for, the flock to roll in. 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, everybody's like sitting around going, oh, I got to get my LOA fix. Where is it? Where is it? By the way, I've had, hi Marie, I've had several people send me private messages, very private. I could never tell you their contents, except for this part. I keep missing you live. Right? I'm not getting notified when you're live. If that's you, I have a solution, whether you're watching this live or in the replay. Just write, tell me in the comments. Tell me. And then you'll get a nice little message from me, and we'll just confirm that you want to be reminded. And then when I go live with these Q&As, you'll get a little message right there in your Facebook. Just, hey, I'm live. We're going to talk about this now. Go back to what you were doing. And if you don't like getting those notifications, you can stop them by just saying, hey, stop. Literally typing that word. Hi, Steve. So Joe just tested it out. So Joe can tell me if it works because this is a new one. I mean, I use this. I use this for lots of things, but it's the first one. Hello, Jim. Long time, Jim. And Lisa is here. No, don't say tell me please X, Lisa, because if you do that, it won't work. It has to be just tell me. Tell me. Just tell me. Okay. So this is about your Q&A. I say this every single time. And a lot of times it's not your questions as much as me just telling you stuff. There you go, Lisa. Tell me if it works. So today, the past few, I talked about the 5 things you're forgetting about the law of attraction. And then it was 5 more things you're forgetting. See? This really is like a TV show or something. Anyway, today I have 5, another thing of 5. There are 5. Hi, Nori. Yay, Lisa. Okay, good. 5 questions you should be asking yourself, Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Ms. And any variation thereof. If I should clarify, you should be asking, because I don't like to should on people, right? That's not something we should do. But between you and me and everybody else watching, and by the way, feel free to share this broadcast with as many millions of people as you possibly can. We are here to help people make a difference, on the planet. One crazy broadcast at a time. But somehow we've got to get the word out. Be really interested to see. I'm just going to tell you because, you guys are my tribe. I'm getting ready to, because, I've been talking about the group coaching incessantly. I'm getting ready to do I'm just telling you this. I'm going to do a Facebook ad. Now, I don't do a lot of Facebook ads, but I'm going to for this one because it's that important. So it'll be really interesting to see if you guys get those ads because it seems like you should. So if you ever see them in the corner, you'll see. Hopefully, you'll see. If I do my job right, you'll notice them. But I'm just curious because you guys show up for these Q&As. You should see them if all goes well. Okay, so can I tell you the 5 questions? Will you stop bombarding me about questions about how I advertise and my group coaching? I'll get to all that. But I thought we were here to talk about the law of attraction. Hi, Sarah. Okay. One moment while I take a sip of freshly brewed and prepared cappuccino in my branded mug. Do you all have a branded mug? You should. Each and every one of you is a show that you put on for the world every single day. How are you liking the character arc right now? How's that show going? Is it ready? Are you timed for a twist in the plot? Are you ready for Act 3 where, something happens in this show you're putting on every single day? Do you like the way your character has developed? Would you perhaps like to maybe do some rewrites? Well, if so, you came to the right place, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, you are so lucky. I don't know how you got so lucky, but you did. Okay, now for some of you, especially this first question, you should be asking yourself. For some of you, this is going to be like, Bob, if I hear you say this again, I'm going to bake you a cake because it's that important. Just make sure it's chocolate, and I'm on board. Here it is, the first question that you should be asking yourself. And this is in the description, so it's not a big surprise. Do I know what I want and why? Do I know what I want and why? The reason that is the most important question and number 1 on the list with a bullet, excuse the violent imagery, is because ideally we're living into a vision. Our life should be about creating and living into and creating and living into, not stagnating and getting frustrated and running around in circles and feeling stuck. We've got this life and we've got all the ability we need to just keep it awesome and expanding and growing and doing amazing things, but we've gotten stuck and all of that. And so our eye is off the prize being the vision, the awesome life, right? So our eye is on this. So the problem or whatever we're trying to change. And so when we first start asking ourselves, do we know what we want and why we want it? Sometimes our immediate knee-jerk reaction is, yes, I want none of this, and I don't want it because I hate it, right? So it's just a bunch of negative yuck rather than moving yourself into a vibration that really feels awesome because you're in the space of something that you actually want to attract. And then that is what will change the energy around you to make that a reality. But if you're not clear on what you want and why you want it, if your direction's in the wrong place, or if you've stepped into somebody else's version of a vision for yourself, oh, you know what, you should want this. And that could be a real person telling you this, or society, or some idea, or a voice in your head from a long time ago. But it's really important that you assess that for yourself. Are there any questions? 1, 2, 3, 0 questions. All right. Nailed that one. I just high-fived myself. Alrighty. Here's a good one. Are you ready? This is juicy. This is so juicy. And I know Nori and Sarah and anyone who's worked with me in any capacity, this will feel familiar. This is a question you should be asking yourself. Are we clear on what we're talking about here today? Where is everybody? Could we at least triple the number of people in this room? Thank you. Here it is. Is not reaching your goal or your vision, is not reaching your goal or vision unacceptable? The way I've always asked this in the past is, can you answer the question, why must I do this? This is just another way of saying it. Is not reaching it unacceptable? I know there's there's double negatives in there. The key to this list is if I'm entering the Porky Pig sound-alike contest. Didn't mean to practice in front of you. Pardon me, let's get back to the program, shall we? The whole idea of why must I do this, or why, is not reaching your goal unacceptable, is so that because all these questions, if you answer no to any of them, then there's an issue. You'll see. They're carefully crafted. So if it is acceptable for you to not reach your goal, if that's okay, I don't need to live into my vision or whatever, if that's okay, well, then your ego will have no problem stopping your every attempt at working with the law of attraction. Because you don't want it bad enough. So it's like it's so easy. It's so easy for your ego to stop you. So if you're not tuned into that vision that is unacceptable not to attain, then it's going to be so easy to get stopped when you don't know what to do next, or if something gets hard, or if an unexpected turn of events happens and you start making it mean, oh, the universe doesn't want this for me. That happens sometimes. People think that way. Not always appropriate. So is not reaching your goal unacceptable? If you can't answer yes to that, I know it's a lot of negatives. I don't know a better way to ask it. I admit it, it's clunky. Okay, but you know what I mean. Everybody know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay. Shall we go on to the third one? And look, by the way, for those of you who are watching this and thinking, this is just so obviously another veiled attempt to sell the group coaching, I just want to say that you are incorrect, because it is not at all veiled. It is an outright attempt to enroll you in the idea of joining our group coaching, because all of these things we've been talking about all week come together in this. And here's the thing. Now, if you watch these things, there's when I flash this up on the screen, if you've watched these or whatever, if you're watching it for the first time and you go, oh, he's selling something, I want you to pay very close attention to what your reaction is. Because I do all of this and I talk about all this always in the context of a lot of content and value. You can go back and check me on that. But if you guys want results with the law of attraction, why would I not tell you about the best single way that I know of to get results? The way that has created more tangible and faster results with people that I've worked with directly than any other time in my life. Why would I not tell you that if this is what you're here to learn about? You can choose to not do it, and that's totally fine. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's totally fine. But of course I would tell you about it, because it's totally in the context of what we're talking about here. If you answer no to these questions, then you need to come in here so we can get you some yeses. All right, you don't need to come in, but you do need to get these answers changed to yes somehow. And so what we're doing with the group coaching program, which is 90 days, is giving you 90 days to do all that, to turn those no's into yeses with support, a daily support, and so on. From moi and everybody else in the group. And by the way, the game is afoot. Those are words I used in a post to the group this morning, the people who have already joined the 90 days. Because, once you're in there, it starts. The introductions have begun and people are starting to talk about what they're up to, and so the work has begun. Now, you're not late until September 23rd, which is when we have our first official session. And those run at 9 a.m. on Saturday mornings, Pacific time. You don't have to be there live. It just gives you the ability to ask questions live. You don't have to be there live. You can always watch the replay and ask questions in between, because I'm available to you throughout the week, every single day in the coaching group. And we walk you basically from wherever you are in this whole process of manifesting, whether you don't know what the hell you want or whether you're really clear and you need some super momentum. We've got you covered in every aspect. And there's several people who have done the coaching right here watching this broadcast who can attest to that. Okay, let's get back to the third thing. All right. The third question you should be asking yourself, besides how quickly can I go get into group coaching, is living the life I hope to live more important than keeping others comfortable with the choices in their life? I can ask that a different way, I think. The idea is it more important for me to do what I'm here to do and be who I'm here to be than to compromise that so that other people are comfortable? Because how many of you might might be compromising who you really want to be, not taking action, not expressing yourself in a certain way, not doing certain things because of other people, because of what they might say or think. Whether that's a spouse or a family member or a friend or a group of people that you're a part of. Is your path more important than keeping them comfortable? That's a very important question to ask, because we get tied to those old relationships and we do care what they think, right? Or we feel like there's going to be some sort of fallout or whatever it is. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the question is asked about inside relationships like marriages, for example, where one spouse now sees something big for themselves and the other one maybe doesn't really want that person to fly the way they know they can. So what do? And that's when this question really comes into play. Whose life are you going to live? Are you going to compromise who you are, what you're here to do, what is burning inside of you somewhere, even if it's deep down in there? Are you going to not do that simply because other people will get uncomfortable if you do? Because I really think there's a huge number of people who falls into that category. All right, Marion, well, thank you. Charlotte, hi. And Theodora has joined. You all saw that when it happened, maybe. With all this incredible technology. By the way, if you're coming in late, I mentioned at the top that if you ever want to be notified about these live Q&As as they happen, so you don't miss a minute, well, you might miss a minute, but that's all you'd miss. You can type "tell me" into the comments down here. Just tell me, enter. And then, well, you'll see what happens. No, I'll just confirm with you that you want to be reminded, and then next time I go live, you'll get a notification. So you can be right here from the beginning. Don't miss a minute. Ask your question live. You know what I'm saying? Joe says, I struggle with friends who say that I let money change me. I do more, give more, and experience more because I've been blessed with good fortune, but I do struggle with losing friends over this. I really do need a new circle of friends. And Joe, man, that is exactly. And I'll tell you, and this truly, group coaching is a great place to find that original, that group. You can ask, definitely Sarah and Marion and other people who Steve can attest to the sense of community that is built in that group, where you have that support, where you have a new group of friends who are totally in alignment with success, with visions coming true for everybody, no matter where they came from. So just throwing that out there, but you're absolutely right. But the thing is that if you're clear on that, you don't have to join the group coaching program to find those people, but you do need to, set that intention that it's time for new folks. And realize that old relationships may fall away, but then the new ones come, but you have to start putting out the energies that says, hey world, hey universe, this is who I am now, unapologetically and very clear. And then, that's how it happens. Hi, Lynn. Welcome me. Oh my. That's a funny word. I saw a couple of you write, tell me, and I was going to say welcome. And I said, welcome me. Take luck. You too. Okay. All right. Is everybody asking, can everybody answer that question honestly? Whether it's yes or no, whether or not you because you're not really answering. Does that apply to any of you? The whole I'm not taking action because of other people thing? Because that is a tricky one. And it's very, very difficult to move through that without a lot of support on a regular basis. You got to have somebody to turn to when that starts to get uncomfortable, or when it gets really, really tough and you start to question, am I going to go forward with my dream or not? Because this is really making this person or these people or whatever this uncomfortable. What do I do? And you need to have support, a reminder every day, because again, I'm going to go back to the overall theme of what makes this so difficult in general. The ego is fighting for its life. This is my new mantra. And I'm saying it a lot because it really hopefully paints the picture and explains to you why this work can get so tricky, especially if you've got an amazingly huge vision. Because it's such a different identity for you who you'll have to be, that your ego, that is your sense of identity, is in danger of its life, of losing its life. And that's why it throws everything it has at you to stop you from taking action. Alrighty. That dovetails right into number 4. Okay? And that is, this is another question. Number 4 in the list of questions you should be asking yourself for consistency in results with the law of attraction. Let's take a look. Number 4. Am I willing to change who I am being to have the life I truly want? So I've touched on that several times, haven't I? Christina, hang on. I'll see if I can get back to that question. She asked, what happens when others change and you stay on the right path? I'll try to remember to get back to that. I do address it a zillion other places. So I've been talking about being and changing. You know, when you have a vision that's bigger than you, that means you've got to be bigger. Because you've got everything you've got because you are in perfect alignment with it, whether you like it or not. Right? So when you start to change your vision and change that vibration, right, so that things can come to you, the person who you've been being, who is filled with resistance, limiting thoughts, all of that, that person has to go, that person has to know. It can't be a part of the equation. You have to create a new version of you, a version of you who sees what used to be a limitation and now just sees it as an event that is to be worked with, whatever. You know, but you've got to be willing to change that. And that's, again, we go right back to what I just said. When it comes down to changing who you're being, which is imperative, the ego is fighting for its life. What would you do if you were fighting for your life? You would use every tactic you had to stay alive. And the ego knows you completely. So it knows exactly what to say. Coaching program, you don't have time. It's too much money. You know, who are you to get that job? There's a million people more qualified than you. You know, no, that's too scary. What if something goes wrong? Whatever it is that is your Achilles heel in terms of making decisions, it's going to throw it at you. And the closer you get, the more committed you get, the louder it's going to scream. And if you're not ready for that, and if you don't have the tools to deal with it, and if you don't have the support to deal with it, I promise you, you'll probably stop. Or at least dramatically slow down or start to second guess yourself and your vision and everything. Because the ego will always make sense on that level, on that limiting level. It will always argue for your limitation. That's a good way to recognize it. All that noise in your head that tells you why you can't do something that you feel like you're here to do, it's just arguing limitation. So you won't go do that thing because then it can't be anymore. But you can get through it with support and consistency. And it's also showing your ego that, hey, you know, this new thing, it feels pretty good. So how about giving me a break and let me feel it? You'll like it if you just be quiet. That's how you got to talk to your ego. Okay? Okay, so Christina's question was, what happens when others change and you stay on the right path? And do you mean that they go down a dark path? It still comes down to a decision. They're going to do what they're going to do. Everybody's going to do what they're going to do. And it's not, another common question is basically around like using the law of attraction to change a person. I want them to be this. I want them to come back to me. I want them to make this decision. I want them to follow me down this path. We don't have that, sorry, because they have a consciousness too. They also have this connection. That's not to say that a person can't be manipulated energetically, because it happens all the time with misinformation and so on. And I mean, manipulation is happening everywhere. But like trying to use the law of attraction or whatever in this way to get them to change so they will want to, it's not appropriate. And you don't want that. What you want is people who are already on board or who effortlessly get into your alignment. right? It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be about going out there and changing people and transforming people and bending them to your will or your point of view, because there's plenty of people out there already who are already on board. You just have to find them. But to find them, you have to be willing to go amongst them and tell the world who you are and what you're about, so that that energy's out there and you can attract these relationships, these new relationships. And the other ones may show signs of falling away, and you just have to, my life, their comfort. My life, their comfort. My life, their comfort. I know it's not always that cut and dried. There's a ton of emotion dealing when we're talking about families and things like that in this situation. So I don't mean to be making light of it. But when it comes down to it, that's the question. Yeah, you got to navigate all those emotional things and the outcomes and repercussions and blah, blah, blah. But it still comes down to, is my life more important than keeping other people comfortable when all that other stuff is done? And I just like, Gina says, can you give me tips to use the LOA to quit smoking? You should talk to Steve, who is in this room, who I think he said 11 months today or tomorrow of quit smoking. And he used a process of his own. He had been working on quitting smoking, and then I shared with him a process called the Click that I used to quit drinking at the beginning of 2016. Just eliminated alcohol completely in 45 minutes using this process. You can go to boundlessliving.com/theclick. And somebody can type that in if they want to. boundlessliving.com/theclick. And on that page, there's a whole video of me explaining the entire process. So it's not when I recorded that, there's nothing for sale, except now there is at the bottom of that page. If you want me to work with you through it, I make a session available, but you don't need me to do it. The whole idea is you can look at, and it's about changing any self-sabotaging behavior, not just drinking or smoking. It can be anything. And it was a process that, like I said, took me basically 45 minutes to get to the decision and the absolute click, why I called it that alcohol was no longer, it just, there's no place for it. And when you can get to that, and there's a logical process, and you guys, seriously, this is it. This is you can't see because there, you can see writing on it. This is the piece of cardboard I used on January 2nd, 2016 to go through this process that I talk about in the Click. This is the actual one. This piece of paper represents my giving up alcohol after, an entire adult life or whatever. So yes, I can help you with that. Follow that link that Steve put up there and see if that works for you. Okay. All right, did I get clear on the being part? Are you willing to change? Because if you're not, you cannot expect, please hear me, you can't expect all of your outer and all of your experience of reality to change and you not, because at the very least, ideally, you're going to be a person who's enjoying your experience of your everyday life to an immense degree. That's the whole reason you have your vision. So at least you got to figure out what that looks and feels like. Why do you want all this stuff? How do you expect that you're going to be as a result of it? Right? Like, how does your day change? How do you respond to things? Things that used to ruin your day. You can create a version of yourself where that's not who you be anymore. But you need to create that. You need to be clear on that, because if you're still insisting on being you with your limitations and insecurities and your fears and your worries and your reactions and all of those things, that person cannot move into vibrational alignment with that vision that you're having, unless your vision includes you feeling all like that, which would be weird. So I can't imagine that's happening. So, are you willing to change who you're being? And you can tell me yes. I'm sure you would. If you and I were in a one-on-one conversation, it'd be really awkward for you to say no. So you might say yes and really believe it. But what happens? The closer you get, what happens? The ego is fighting for what? That's right. It's life. So if you don't have support, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Okay, last one, ladies and gentlemen, number 5 of the questions you should be asking yourself. I wish we had a drum roll. I can't believe I don't. I've got plenty of other sound effects right here on this iPad. You'd think a drum roll. It's classic. What is wrong with me? Okay, number 5. Oh, okay. This is almost funny because it's whatever. Are you ready? Here we go. Am I coachable? Right? I know. That's like I'm killing myself here because clearly I'm talking about joining coaching. It's almost tacky. But it's very important question. In life, whether you're in a coaching program or not, are you open to feedback and response from other people? Are you willing to allow other people to help you along in your journey? Are you willing to receive, right? And feel worthy to receive? Because so many people take this on all by themselves. I got this. I saw the movie. It's just you make a wish, right? You know, they take it on themselves. They run up against all their resistance, all their stuff. Of course they're going to. Right? And they read the books or whatever. If they're not getting their answers, they got to be open to some. How are they going to get their answers if they don't even know how to open themselves up to receiving, like their intuition? And if the books aren't helping and the programs aren't helping, what do they do? Do they give up completely, or do they just reach out and freaking ask for some help from somebody who knows how to do it? But a lot of people don't. Or they don't want to invest in it or whatever. But for some people, it's not even about the money. It's just the whole, they're just not coachable. They think they got it figured out. But you know what? Their evidence in their life is that they do not. But see, that's the ego at work. The ego is saying, this is fine. Yeah, you want to change some stuff, but these people don't know better than you. That guy, he doesn't even know you. Yeah. Oh, but let me... Right? Your ego, that know-it-all ego who's got all this. I got this. Meanwhile, you're still trying to change your life because you're not happy and all this, but there's this really loud conversation. I know more than these people. I know more than these. Oh, I already know all that. Who's had that experience? You come into a program where you take, I already know all this stuff. Your ego just jumps right in because you've read the paragraphs before. It recognizes the words. It recognizes the concepts. So it says, you already know all this. No. You've read it before, but if you're not getting the results, as my good friend Andy Shaw would say, you don't know it. So your ego is lying to you. There's a first. Right? And you believe it. But so much of this is about learning how to become attentive to that voice. Again, if you'll just be on the lookout for the voice that argues for your limitations, you'll be able to spin around and go, I gotcha. Ego. He doesn't like it when you call him like that. When you go, ego, he doesn't, so you should do it. Beth says, be ready for feedback when she's talking about those who are in the group coaching program. Yes, this is not, the group coaching is not at all passive, and no one can hide from me. I'm definitely there as a stand, and some will say a very powerful stand for you to get where you're going. And so if I see you, in your stuff, when you know better, I will call you on it and we will correct the path, because that's what coaching is about. And it's because you don't have somebody coming in and correcting your path that you go and you don't get results. It's because you don't have somebody or a group of people holding you accountable for what you say you're going to do. Because your intentions are awesome, but your ego is really strong and loud and is fighting for its life. Right? So there are going to be uncomfortable times during a coaching process when you hear words said to you that are fed back about what's being observed about you, that your ego you won't like it. And you won't like it, and that's great, because that tells you, wow, this is yucky. You wouldn't respond if there wasn't truth to it. Otherwise, you just go, no, I don't think that's it. And so now you have the gift of dealing with it, of looking at it and going, it's just the ego. And we've got tools galore to deal with that in the program. But yeah, you know, feedback is why you're there. If you're not coachable, definitely don't join the coaching program. If you're not open for feedback, if you do not want someone to say, hey, I think I see a pattern of behavior and thought that is inhibiting your progress, if you don't want that, then obviously joining a coaching program would be ill-advised, especially mine. Because as they will tell you, we have a lot of fun. It runs a lot like this, right, Beth? I'm silly enough in there, but it's all about a very, very powerful intention to get everybody where they want to go. And there are all sorts of high and low emotional moments throughout this journey, but we've all got the support and we're all in it together, which is really, really critical and super important and what makes it so special. You know, truly a thing. And that's why, you know, these people wouldn't be coming back after doing it, you know, for 90 days if they didn't enjoy the 30. I mean, I keep pointing to that because, you know, if you did a coaching program and it didn't give you any value, you wouldn't sign up again, right? Of course not. But if it did give you value, a lot of times you get coaching programs and it gave you value and you still don't sign up again, right? So it's a whole nother level when you do a coaching program and you get results and you sign up again. And I'm giving credit to the group dynamic, not just like me and how awesome it all is. It happens, the magic happens when the group starts being honest with one another and really opening up with who they are and what they're about and why they are there and how they've been stopped in the past and how committed they are to not be stopped anymore. You know, and so these people who have come back, they've gotten some momentum. They see, and they want to keep going, right? And they only had 30 days. So now they're coming in, they're going to have 90 days. You come in, you've got 90 days. There's so much we can accomplish when it's all about your intention to take action. Okay. All right, we've got highs and yeses. And hi, Kobe. Good to see you. And Rahul, thank you. I'm sorry, I missed Jennifer coming in. I feel terrible. I got on a roll. And Terry. Anyway, so again, I'll say it one last time. And you know, and let me say this too. This starts next Saturday, the group coaching. And after that starts, I won't be doing nearly as many of these Law of Attraction Q&As because I'll be full-time in the coaching group. But still, when I do them, if you want to be notified between now and when I, you know, kind of slow down and whenever I do them, you can type "tell me" into the comments down there. And if you scroll up, you'll see others have done that previously. And then we'll set it up so, and that will just kind of get you in a system where when I go live, I can tell you. And you can stop that at any time. You can just play with it, just see. But I do get comments from time to time that people miss the show and they would like to know when. And since I do it sporadically, I never really know when I'm going to do it. This is the best way to get people in here. Guys, you all are so awesome. Thank you for your energy and your attention. I know we didn't really field a lot of questions, but I liked your feedback and I liked talking with you. I always enjoy it. It's just a ton of fun. So, believe me, I'll be back tomorrow. I got to come up with another 5 things to talk about something. 5 is my magic number. Let's see if I can maintain it.